going to give you unlimited amount of wealth. Meaning the wealth is not going to get decreased, but it's going to give you wealth in unlimited proportions, either in this life or next life. So this is the reason why we have to give donations to, when Krishna conscious devotees come and ask for donations, we should definitely very gratifyingly donate. And same with I mean, if there is going to be a temple need where we require to collect some charity for temple, raising funds for the temple, we should give it with our full heart and devotion to Lord Krishna. Because obviously, this is something that Srimad Bhagavatam recommends us to do also. So this is what Srimad Bhagavatam talks about when it comes to charity. So the point of giving charity is good, but charity alone cannot help you get the darshan of Lord Krishna. So this has to go with bhakti. This is definitely anukul for bhakti. Of course, the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita talks about charity, dana and tapasya. These are all definitely needed, but these are all very anukul for bhakti. But at the same time, this alone cannot help you get the darshan of Lord Krishna. That point has to be understood very clearly. So now we saw about charity. And next, let's go into understand the fire sacrifice, Sajya. So what is this fire sacrifice? The Brahmanas, what they do is they are chanting the mantras, they are offering the ahuti, and they are worshipping Lord Krishna, who's manifesting, Lord Vishnu, who's manifesting through the mouth of Lord Agni. And Agni Deva is accepting the sacrifices. And then what happens is these benefits of the sacrifices go to the other devatas through the Agni Deva. So this is what happens when somebody performs a fire sacrifice, and the ultimate benefactor of the sacrifice is Lord Vishnu. And the persons who are actually performing the sacrifice must have this sort of understanding where Vishnu is the ultimate benefactor. Okay, and some people, they do the sacrifices to the devatas, and they think devatas themselves are the supreme god, and that understanding is definitely wrong. And when you do with that sort of understanding, obviously the benefits that you get from the devatas are not going to be eternal benefits. They are definitely going to be temporary benefits. Whenever we worship devatas, then we understand that obviously the devatas themselves are temporary, right? I mean, they are all in this material world. This even Swarga, it's a temporary material world. And after their punya credits are done, they do have to fall back. So how can the devatas who are not permanent be able to grant you eternal benefits? Is definitely not possible. So whatever benefits that we get out of the performance of yajna, or especially worshipping the demigods, are going to give you temporary results. We all know the story of Yagnik Brahmanas. When Krishna was able to give them the personal darshan, Yagnik Brahmanas, they said, we are very busy and very much involved in performing the rituals, and we have no time to see Krishna. They completely ignored the requests of their wives, and the wives, they were in the mood. I mean, they were able to understand Krishna in the heart, and immediately wanted to go and see Krishna, offer food to Krishna, personally go and serve Krishna. So this was their mood. But the Brahmanas, they were so involved in performing the ritualistic activities without understanding the essence of what the Vedas are meant to say. And they were completely in ignorance, and doing this mechanical process, they can elevate you to a certain extent, help you go to Swarga, but then they are not going to give you permanent results. So this is one other example from Srimad Bhagavatam that we are able to relate to see that how fire sacrifices are done, and who's the ultimate benefactor. And we saw the story of Yajnik Brahmanas from Srimad Bhagavatam to very well understand the concept of ritualistic performances. And now coming back to the last two lines of the slokas talks about Haribol. Are you able to see me or hear me?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Okay. Okay. So the last two lines are able to say, Sakya evam vido drishtum, like now, drishtavan asi mam yata, as you're seeing me now. This form, you're seeing me now. I mean, obviously, what he's saying through the translation is The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing severe penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. Worship here talks about the fire sacrifice, right? That's the alternate meaning. So we saw two things now, charity, fire sacrifice. And now we are going to talk about studying the Vedas and undergoing severe penances, what that exactly means. Okay. So what is the concept of the impersonalists? What do they think? They think that there is higher reality beyond Krishna. Krishna is there, but there is higher reality beyond Krishna. And that is where we have to go. That is what an impersonalist thinks. But Krishna is saying very clearly, seeing me is very rare. But the impersonalists say, only when you are less intelligent, you can think of a form. That is when you actually, when you're less intelligent only is the time, that is the time you actually perceive a form and worship the form. But when you become more and more intelligent, then you actually go beyond the form to the formless. So that is their conception. But in actuality, seeing the personal form of Krishna is very, very, very rare. So this it is not that this form is seen for the personal form of the Lord is for common people and the formless is for very intelligent people. That is a wrong understanding. He doesn't say that anywhere also. And it is so rare by this normal Vedic process of elevation, one cannot get to see Lord Krishna. So what is this Vedic process of elevation? We have this Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda and all that. And this generally what it gives is, it gives punya. See, maybe by doing Karma Kanda rituals, what happens is one generally gets to, one accumulates punya and they can pretty much go to Swarga. But that cannot take you beyond that. So this is what happens when you when you follow through the karma kandic rituals. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, I mean, now we'll come to the austerities part, and I'll also discuss about the Vedas in very much detail by quoting an example from Chaitanya Charitamrita again. So let's look into the pastime from. So for I mean, let's look into the austerity first, and then I'll come to the Vedas, if that's okay. So, what is austerity? Austerity is something that you kind of give some sort of inconvenience to your body, and you perform it through willpower, right? Through your willpower, you want to sustain and do some sort of a sacrifice. And now there was this Brahmana from, so Brahmachari from Chaitanya Charitamrita, who was just drinking, he was practicing austerities and he ate only milk and fruits. Every day, that was his routine. He never used to eat a feast or anything of that sort. All he ate was milk and fruits. So what he did was, repeatedly he begged Srivas Pandit. There used to be a Sankirtan that is going on in the house of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted to be one of the witness to that Sankirtan pastime that was happening at the night. At the night time, at the house of Srivas Angan, at the house of Srivas Pandit, all of them, whoever were close associates of Mahaprabhu, they were all involved in the Sankirtan movement at night. And this particular brahmachari, he heard about it and he wanted to be one of the participants of it. And he went and told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he said, he pleaded Shivas Pandit. He pleaded and begged him, saying, I'll be really grateful to you. I know you are a very good soul. I'm also a strict brahmachari, you see. I eat only fruit and milk. If you think I'm eligible to see Lord's dancing, please give me permission so that I will be able to see and get the darshan of the Lord. And even if you can help me just in a hidden way, if I can see the Sankirtan somehow or the other, I will be grateful to you. So this was what was proposed by the brahmachari. And then what happened was, Shivas Pandit, looking at the sincerity and sincerity in terms of austerity that he was performing, he thought, okay, he's a very strict brahmachari. He eats only fruits and milks. So he is maybe eligible to see Lord dancing. So, what I'll do is, brahmachari, you just have to remain hidden somewhere here. And because the Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has ordered that no one is allowed in this house. And that is the reason I am telling you this. And Shivas Pandit, what he did was, he secretly brought this Brahmana inside the house and he hid him. And during the Kirtan, Lord Chaitanya and his associates, they started to chant and dance. but they did not experience the usual ecstasy that they usually experience. Soon they remarked and said, "Today I don't feel the same ecstasy while dancing. Perhaps someone is hiding inside this house. Please tell the truth, Shivas Pandit." Like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happened to question Shivas Pandit. And Shivas Pandit, he became very afraid. And he happened to say that, "My lord, I assure that there is no non-believers in this house, but only a brahmachari. He's a very qualified person. He's a very sinless brahmana. He eats only milk and fruits. He has a strong desire to see the dance. And you're right, my lord. He's actually hiding here." And on hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became very furious and he said, "Take him out of the house immediately. What is this qualification to see my dancing? How can one develop devotion to me by just drinking milk? How is this possible? What kind of thing is this? Just by this austerity of drinking milk, how can one develop devotion to me? That is not possible. Just by drinking milk alone, one cannot attain me." The Lord then, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. A person, he can be a renunciate without having mundane attachments. But if that person is not going to surrender to Lord Krishna, then how will Krishna be able to accept him? Right? That is what is being conveyed through the story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the interactions with Shivas Pandit and the Brahmachari Brahmana. That is what we understand. On the other hand, even if there is a low caste dog eater, if he takes full shelter of me and completely surrenders to me, then I accept him. No problem. So what is the key here? Bhakti or devotional process to the Lord is the key. I mean, all these can be anukul to bhakti. If you are surrendering to God and doing all this, these are all very favorable for the process of devotional service. But this alone cannot get you the darshan of the Lord. This alone cannot help you to see the Lord. That's not possible. So only through devotion, only through bhakti, that is the key. And everything else is secondary, meaning everything else can help you enhance your bhakti, but those are not the main. With that alone, you cannot be able to get the darshan of the Lord, or that with that alone, you cannot get the mercy of the Lord. So now what happened was this brahmachari, he started to tremble with fear and he came out of the hiding. Still he thought, "I was so fortunate to see Lord's dance. And now I am receiving this appropriate punishment from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." He accepted Lord's chastisement as mercy. And then understanding brahmachari's heart, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually blessed him. What he told this brahmachari was that, "Do not try to attain power through penances and austerities. Rather, what you should do is render devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Lord Krishna. That is the highest activity you should do." And the Lord placed his lotus head on brahmachari's head. This is what happened with this pastime, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu clearly mentioned that rendering loving service unto the Lord is the most valuable thing that one can do, and that is the highest activity. And performing this, you should not try to attain power through penances and austerities. That is not recommended. Okay. All you have to do is surrender to the Lord and do the process Navavidha Bhakti. That is the 9 process of devotional service is something that you should do. So he says we require pure devotion, and that can be attained through the process of devotional service. And now, so this is what is an example that I wanted to quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, as well as for austerity by willpower. So now we saw 3, right? We saw about charity, we saw about the fire sacrifice, we saw about austerities. By doing severe austerities, one cannot be able to get the darshan of the Lord. And now we are going to talk about the Vedas, which is the last. I think there are 4 things which are the don'ts. Through this alone, you cannot attain me, which is what is being clarified through the purport of Srila Prabhupada. So now let's look into the last part and understand what that exactly means. Okay, so for this, I'll try to quote a Chaitanya Charitamrita pastime also, so that we better able to understand this particular concept. Okay, So now he's talking about Vedas. How about a learned scholar? Can he get darshan of Lord Krishna? That may be a very valid thing, right? I mean, this scholar, this person is very good in Vedas. He's very well read. He's able to say the Bhagavad Gita upside down. He has memorized all the slokas. How about him? Can he get the darshan of the Lord? Is it possible? And here is a story that we can understand, and that is again from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which will help us understand what is the essence, what is the goal, and hope this will give you a better context to understand what Krishna is trying to say through this Bhagavad Gita verse. Actually, the answer is no. Even if the person is learned, if the person is scholarly, if he's able to memorize verses, but if he doesn't have devotion to Lord Krishna, that will not help him. That will not help him get the darshan of the Lord. So we will understand it through the story of Keshava Kashmiri. We all know from Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a famous scholar and a great Pandit named Keshava Kashmiri. He happened to come to Mayapur. And what he would do is, he's a Digvijay Pandit, meaning he would travel all over the country and he will defeat various scholars, and all of them, they will accept their defeat to him. That much scholarly he was. Very easily he will be able to defeat all the scholars from various parts of the world. So as a result, what happens when you are able to beat and show your scholarly tendencies, you eventually become proud, right? And that's what happened with Keshava Kashmiri also. He became extremely proud of his scholarship. And one day he happened to walk along Ganga and he happened to meet Nimai Pandit there. Nimai, he said something profound. He said, a great person is like a tree which is filled with fruits. A fruit laden tree bows down. It bows down, right? Even though it bears so many fruits, it still bows down. Similarly, a person with good qualities, he bows down to everyone. He offers respect to others and he does not expect anything for himself. This is what Nimai actually said to Keshava Kashmiri. Nimai, he also then requested Keshava Kashmiri to compose a poetry in glorification of Mother Ganga. Now, Keshava Kashmiri, of course, he immediately composed 100 original Sanskrit verses in glorification of Mother Ganga. And obviously, looking at the poetry, everybody were awestruck. They were all spellbound. And Nimai then asked him to explain the good qualities and faults of the poetry. Can you just tell me some good qualities and faults that are seen in this poetry? He asked he asked Keshava Kashmiri. And then Keshava Kashmiri, he said that there are no faults in my poetry. Of course, I'm very good, I'm a very good scholar. I have defeated so many people all over the country, and I'm a Digvijay Pandit. What do you think of me? There are no faults in my poetry at all. Then Nimai, what did he do? He actually pointed out some faults in his poetry. Upon hearing that, Keshava Kashmiri, he became speechless. Of course, because those were all valid corrections. Those were all valid faults. And Nimai, he then happened to defeat him, but he maintained his dignity in front of other people. I mean, in the sense, he maintained his dignity in front of everyone else, just to make sure that he was all right. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, Nimai Pandit, as Nimai Pandit, because this happened as a childhood pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that's why it's Nimai. Nimai is very scholarly, right? And he was a very good Sanskrit scholar, and so during this childhood pastime, this event happened, and hence we are saying Nimai. And the Nimai, he said, knowledge itself is only of value if it helps us to develop the qualities of a pure devotee. Otherwise, this knowledge that you have is a disturbance. Okay, very, very valid, very, very important learning for us also. Knowledge itself is of value if it helps us to develop qualities of a pure devotee. Otherwise, this knowledge that we have is a disturbance. Because what happens at the end of the day, because of your knowledge, you feel so proud. You don't have any good manners. You think you are great. You are the proprietor, controller. All that mean mentality comes in you. And that is not going to benefit anybody, because people see you as role models, right? When you have good qualities, when you have attributes of a pure devotee, then people value you, value your association, learn from you, have you as a role model, follow your instructions very carefully and very nicely and vigilantly. But on the other hand, if you're a bad role model, even if you are really good in poetry or really good in something, it is not going to take you far, right? And same night, what happened was this Keshava Kashmiri, he happened to have a dream, and Mother Saraswati revealed to him that Nimai is nothing but he is the supreme personality of Godhead. And next morning, what happened was Keshava Kashmiri, he went to Nimai and he surrendered himself to the lotus feet of Nimai. And again, Lord explains this point very, very nicely. Knowledge is of value if it helps you develop good qualities of a pure devotee. Otherwise, it is just a disturbance. And this is what is the learning that we see from the story of Keshav Kashmiri, which says that you can be a scholarly person, but if you don't understand the goal of life or the essence of the Vedas, then that is not going to take you far. We require pure devotion, and that is what will lead you to the ultimate goal of life, to perform transcendental service to Lord Krishna through the process of bhakti or devotional service. That is what will help you achieve the ultimate goal of your life. And this is the understanding from the story. And there's also another story from Chaitanya Charitamrita again, which definitely helps us understand the context here better. And if you don't mind, I can definitely cite that story, and this will help us understand about what is essentially needed, right? And here is the story of Mukunda from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mukunda Datta, he was actually Nimai Pandit's classmate. They all studied in Gangadasa's school, and Mukunda, he had a very melodious voice. He knew the intricacies of all the musical meters and ragas. He used to perform sweet kirtanas and please all the Vaishnavas in the Navadvip area that way. And tuning to Gaura's heart, he would sing the songs matching with Gauranga's feelings. So Lord Chaitanya, he actually, when he took sannyasa, he was with the, Mukunda was actually performing kirtan during the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the sannyas. And he served Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri also as one of the humblest followers. So what happened was, one day, again in the house of Shiva's Pandit, Lord Chaitanya, he happened to bless all the devotees except Mukunda. And Mahaprabhu, he overlooked him because he did some offense somewhere. And Mukunda placed what he did. What was the offense, one may ask, right? What did he do? He actually started following some sort of Mayavad philosophy whenever he talked to the followers on those paths. So obviously Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like this, right? The bhakti has to be pure. It should not be tinged with jnana or karma. That is what is the pure devotional service. When the devotional service is mixed, that is not good. And Mahaprabhu felt as if he was debating on mundane topics to the karmis. He was actually discussing some Mayavadi topics about impersonalism with Mayavadis. So this is something that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like, and he believed that he committed some offense. And because of this reason, he did not give blessing to Mukunda. And Mukunda, he in fact even chose suicide as an option for his serious offense to Bhakti Devi. And Lord, when he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he asked him if he would receive his mercy in the future life. Will I be able to receive your mercy in future life, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He asked him. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, yes, you will be able to get my mercy after passing 1 million births. After 1 million births, you will be able to come to me, like that he said. And Mukunda, he started to dance in ecstasy upon hearing such a thing, because he was so taken by the positive attitude of when he is going to go back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and get his mercy, because that was something that he was hankering for. Even if it is after 1 million births, that was perfectly fine with him, because he hankered for that kind of association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted to go back to him. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, looking at him dancing in ecstasy, he was actually taken aback, because see what his faithful mood is, how his humility is, how his devotion is. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he called him, "Come here, Mukunda," and then he offered, and then Mukunda offered prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that prayers, he actually said, "My dear Lord, you allowed me to see you, and that is a great fortune for me. That itself is a great fortune. But even I would say, I would have to say one thing. What is that?" One may ask, right? I'm going to say that demons actually saw you, but that seeing is not really seeing you. You know what? The real seeing happens only with devotion. Demons like Sishupal, Dandavakra, all of them, they saw you. But what did they want to do? They saw your attractive supreme form, the two-handed form, the personal form of the Lord, and you are the shelter of all beings. And even Brahma and Shiva adore, Lakshmi adore to see the form. But what did they want to do upon seeing your form, a personal form? They wanted to shoot you with arrows, and they wanted to kill that form of yours. So what is the use of seeing it in that way? Seeing you means seeing with the seeing with eyes anointed with devotion, eyes anointed with prema, eyes anointed with devotion and prema. That is real seeing, and I'm grateful for that. So please grant me your devotion so that I will be able to truly see you. I want to truly see you, not like seeing you means seeing like demons. I really don't want that. I want to truly see you. Here is the prayer. Please grant me that devotion. So this is what is real seeing. So we all have to hanker for that devotion. That hankering and eagerness is going to help us get the mercy of Lord Krishna. So this hankering and eagerness that we see through various pastimes is something that we should also hanker for. And so through Lord's mercy, we will be able to relish the Lord by seeing the Lord, by hearing the Lord, because the holy names are non-different from the Lord. So hearing, I mean, in Kali Yuga, chanting is the way to go, right? In chanting is the way through which we can have darshan of the Lord. When we chant the holy names of the Lord actually comes and sits in our tongue, so that he listens to the names. So how carefully when we have to start listening to the names of Lord Krishna, that is very, very important. So what is required for that vision? The vision, the requirement for the vision is devotion. And that is the significance of seeing or having the darshan of the Lord. And to see the Lord means to see with understanding, and understanding that He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the shelter of all beings. He is so merciful. So many things that comes to our mind when we see the Lord, because obviously the qualities of the Lord also help us to see Him, right? So that is another thing. Name, quality, and form of the Lord are non-different. So this is the understanding through these words. So yajna, dana, tapa. So those are all very important. They are all anukul for devotional service. But what Krishna is saying through this verse is that alone cannot help you get the darshan of me. What you have to do is get into the process of bhakti, get into the process of devotional service, and that is the way you will be able to see me. So we all know also to understand. So another important point that I would like to make, karma is at a physical level, right? So this Veda, tapasya, charity, yajna, all that, there is the heart there. The heart has to be invested, right? There is the heart in these processes. So when purely our heart is offered to Lord Krishna, that is when Krishna accepts that and he reveals himself to him. Okay, say for example, a person is traveling in a train. Okay, let's take that as an example. And the TTE is asking for a ticket. We all, if you go to an Indian railway station and sit there in the train, the TTE, that is a ticket collector, he will ask, "Where is your ticket?" And at that time, you tell him, You know what? I'm an MBA graduate from Wharton School of Business, or I'm an MBA graduate from Harvard University. And you know how many certifications I have? You know how many articles I have published? You know how many papers I have published? Where all it has been signed and who all has read my journal? Do you know what I'm doing? How much I'm earning? How many people are working under me? The ticket collector will still ask for a ticket. He needs to see your ticket so that you can be seated in this compartment. He's not going to care about what sort of achievements you have, what is your educational qualification, your work, how many people report to you, how much you earn. That's not the point. All he needs is a ticket. So in order to get into in order to get the darshan of Lord Krishna, what is the requirement? That has to be clear. The goal has to be clear. The process has to be Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan. See, so the relationship that we have with Lord Krishna, that is Sambandha. And what is the process? That is Abhideya. And that process actually leads you to the ultimate goal of life, that is the transcendental service to Lord Krishna. That is the final goal. So these things as Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan, the ultimate goal of life has to be very clear. So, I mean, I would like to summarize this just so that we get an overall perspective of what we talked so far. So we talked about the impersonalists. We are saying that when you are less intelligent, you can think of a form, and when you are more intelligent, they actually go to formless. But here Krishna is saying that seeing him is not possible by any of this means. It's very, very difficult. It is not at all easy. Krishna doesn't say seeing this personal form is for normal people, but going beyond is rare. He doesn't say it at all. That is wrong understanding. And what this Vedic process of elevation can lead you to is that it's going to give you punya, it is going to take you to Swarga, but it's not going to take you beyond that. So there are 4 things that we saw. One is the study, recitation, memorization of Vedas. We saw it through the example of Keshava Kashmiri, how he was such a learned scholar, but at the end of the day, without any devotion, it's not going to lead him any further. And then we saw an example of a person doing a lot of austerities who's not able to get the darshan of Lord Krishna or the mercy of Lord Krishna. So for that, we saw an example of Brahmana who was just drinking milk and fruits. And what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned during that time was that not only performing austerities, but you have to include devotion into your life. And that is that's what is a main ingredient or main thing that would help you get my mercy. And then giving charity, we saw through Srimad Bhagavatam how much material piety it can get you, but of course that alone is not going to help you get the darshan of Lord. Ijaya means worship. Ijaya means deity worship, but normally Ijaya in Vedic context actually means fire sacrifices by worship. And hence, we talked about Yagnik Brahmanas, the story of the Yagnik Brahmanas, how they were so mechanically involved in the process of fire sacrifice without paying attention to the personal form of the Lord who has come in front of him. They completely ignored Lord Krishna and they are performing rituals. So there's no understanding there. Mere performance of the rituals alone will not help you get Lord's mercy. And then finally, we saw the story of Mukunda, who actually came to see him. And Mukunda prayed and thanked the Lord to allow him to see him. And he said that seeing you is not seeing you, because even demons like Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, they all saw you, but they did not see you with devotion. So all we need is devotion. And so please, Krishna, grant me that devotion so that I'm able to see you with the eyes anointed with love, right? So all these activities mentioned here are good, but they alone do not lead to the vision of the Lord. And that is the understanding of this particular verse 11.53. So with this, I think I can, if we have time, I can go on and explain a few more things. But if we are running out on time, I can stop here for question and answers. Mataji, however you want.
Mataji, we still do have some time.
Okay. So then,
53 only. We can't go on 54.
Oh, yeah, 53 only, Mataji. So here I would like to talk about the darshan of Krishna on Jalatuta by Srila Prabhupada. So what happened was his voyage began. We all know how his voyage began. After undergoing bouts of seasickness, he endured 2 heart attacks on 2 successive days. And then he had to endure them without any medical attention whatsoever. Being a lonely passenger in the cargo ship, there were no medical facilities. So fearing of the third successive attack, he intensified his prayers to Lord Krishna. And at the night, instead of a heart attack, Krishna actually came in his heart. Krishna appeared in his mystical vision, and he offered his blessings and assured that he would personally steer the ship across the ocean and would ensure the success of devotees' mission. This was the this was how much powerful Prabhupada's prayers were. At the end of the journey, what happened? The captain of the ship actually came to Srila Prabhupada and he told him, never before during this 40 years of navigation had this Atlantic Ocean been so calm. It has been so calm. I have never seen this in 40 years of my life. And Prabhupada happened to write it in the diary, saying that Krishna had taken charge of the ship. So this is how Krishna gave his darshan to Srila Prabhupada. Of course, there are many instances, but this is one of them that is very close to my heart. You know, Krishna personally took charge of the ship for Srila Prabhupada and made sure that his mission is fulfilled. Because a person who's so old, he's going to come to America all alone and he's going to fulfill the spiritual master's vision. So Krishna personally wanted that to happen through Srila Prabhupada. And so that was very touching story of Srila Prabhupada in the year 1965. And then through Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand that Krishna also gave darshan to the kings who were arrested by Jarasandha. How many more minutes, Mataji, do we have?
Sorry. Does anybody have a question? Any devotees? Mataji, we have, this is unlimited Zoom, so we have 10 more minutes. And
Okay.
I haven't seen any questions on the chat, so I thought we could take those 10 minutes for discussion,
Okay.
unless
Okay.
anybody has any burning question. So
Either way, yeah. Sounds good. So we will talk about Krishna's darshan the kings had, the kings who were arrested by Jarasandha. What was their feeling when they had darshan towards Lord Krishna? It's a very, very interesting pastime from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So what happened was Krishna, he happened to go straight to the cellars where the kings have been imprisoned. Okay, and the kings saw the presence. The kings happened to see the presence of Lord Krishna. The kings, they have been kept in this dark cellar by Jarasandha, and Jarasandha had a peculiar idea of what he was going to do with them. His plan was that he was going to sacrifice all of the kings. He was going to offer the head of the kings in the sacrifice. So he was keeping all of these kings alive just for that purpose. Okay. And now suddenly the prison door opened, and not just the light of the day came in, but some light which is far brighter and uplifting than the light of the day came in. That was what? That was the effulgence of Krishna's body. And Krishna actually came in. They beheld the same person who they helped, and who, see, these people, when they were in the cellar, they happened to cry out for Lord Krishna, Krishna, please come us and save us. And when they actually saw the same person whose help they prayed for and seek for, they were so, the tears started to, they were so, emotional per se. Tears started to roll down their eyes. The fragrance of Lord Krishna, Krishna's body came into their noses and enlivened them. The sight of Krishna, it was like water for a person who was dying of thirst in a desert. So spontaneously, these kings started to glorify Lord Krishna. Rupa Goswami describes this incident in his book Lalita Madhava. He has written two nice books, Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava. In Lalita Madhava, he talks about the Vrajavasis, right? And he talks about the mood of Vrindavan. And there he describes that the kings fell at the feet of Krishna. Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava, these are the two books. So one book is meant for Mathura Vasis, another book is meant for Vrindavan Vasis. I think Lalita Madhava is meant for Mathura Vasis. And there he describes that these kings fell at the feet of Lord Krishna, and holding Krishna's feet, they said, Krishna, you have blessed us. The prayers they started to chant are so nice. They actually said, we have lost our kingdom. We lost all our honor. But in loss, we have gained you, Lord Krishna. We have gained your devotion. We have gained a connection with you. We have now again gained your darshan. That is our greatest gain. No problem. We have lost our honor. We have lost our kingdom. That's all perfectly fine. But we have achieved something really great. That is having darshan of you. We are now in imprisonment, longing for your darshan. We have composed some prayers praising you. But now that we have seen your beautiful form, we realize that all the praises that we sang for you are nothing but insults. They are nothing in front of you. We are just trying to insult you, O Lord Krishna. The praises that we have offered you are like, it's like a poor villager that sees a very wealthy person and he says, "You're wealthiest landlord of our village." But the person, he's not a landlord, but he's the king of the whole kingdom. So from the point of view of a poor person, to call somebody a landlord is a praise. But from king's perspective, to be called as a landlord, it's actually an insult. Similarly, the kings told Krishna, our glorification is like a king being called a landlord. Your glory is so great, we can never describe it in words. We simply offer ourselves to you. We now understand that the whole situation came upon us that we could have your darshan, so that we could come closer to you. So they thought that this is the arrangement through which we can get darshan of Lord. They forgot all about the sufferings that they had in the dark cell. They were beholding Krishna with devotion, but Krishna was beholding them with compassion. Like a father, he was looking at the children who is in great distress. Krishna felt that they were his own children. Krishna told them, remember your eternal spiritual position. This is an advice for all of us too. Remember your own eternal spiritual position. Your souls who are presently the king of your kingdom. So go back and rule your kingdom. But while you're ruling the kingdom, don't be ruled by illusion. It's not good. Don't be ruled by illusion. Rule your kingdom. Remember your eternal position. What is our eternal position? Being the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. When we work in that faction, everything will follow automatically. Act in that mood of service to me. Ultimately, you will gain and attain me. Krishna then arranged for them to be bathed and dressed in their legal attire. And then the chariots, horses, and elephants, they were all, with that kind of respect, these kings were sent back to the kingdom. So this is the mercy of Lord Krishna. He wants us to eternally remember our position and relationship that we have with him. And in that mood, if we function, he says, surely we are going to attain him. And that should be, again, the mood with which we should operate on in our life. We should not be taken aback by the illusion, but we should always be in the mood of service to the Lord, service to the devotees. When we work in that fashion, then Krishna's darshan is surely there for us. This is the realization again through the Srimad Bhagavatam from 10th canto of the kings of Jarasandha. So with this, I can conclude today's session. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'll just ask Parth Prabhuji to end the session. Unless there is any other question. Is there any other question from any devotees? I'll hand over to Parth Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for your clarification. All the things like how can we are not be able to see the God and we have no any connection with God like ordinary penance, austerity, or Veda, charity, austerity like that. It is only qualification is rendering devotional service, which you describe. And also, thank you very much for your giving the examples of different pastimes like Mukunda Datta, Yasab Kashmiri, and Yajnik Brahman, and so many things. It is really helpful to giving an instance like example. It is teachable. Thank you very much, Mataji, for your time and your enlightenment. On behalf of ISKCON Eldorate, I thanks you and also as well as the devotees assembled here. I request all the devotees, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra. The glorification of Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji. Please join. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha,
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha,
सिंधु एव च पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
श्रील प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
Jai.
हरे कृष्ण। राधिका कस्तूरी माता जी की जय।
Jai.
बोल हरे
All glories to the assembled devotees. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.